Hello everyone, welcome back to another edition of Sports Timeout. I'm Anthony Polidano. Today's show, once again, Kevin Lozon joins us from The Source, and we're going to be previewing the upcoming soccer and girls basketball season, which I guess are underway, but better late than never, right?
How can we do this in a half hour when we did a whole football show in a half hour?
Well, we're going to get a little help this time because one of us, I'm not going to mention any names,
look
tends
in the
to be
mirror.
long-winded.
Look in the mirror, Polidano.
We're going to get a little help from Matt Phillips on the loudspeaker. He's going to let us know when it's time to shut up and move on. Speaking of shutting up and moving on, we're going to move our attention now to girls basketball. Plenty of local teams return a lot of talent for this upcoming 2004 season.
I want players to play. I mean, I don't want to play my best six and walk it down the floor. You know, I like Larry Brown, but that's not real exciting for me. I'd rather push it and run. Paul Westhead, Loyola Marymount, let's get going and see if we can break the clock.
And I am excited to be back. It's, you know, the thing I miss the most, and I got a little bit as an assistant coach, but is a camaraderie amongst the other coaches, and just the, you know, the chance to get out and practice and teach and watch your kids progress is just a great thing.
It would be nice to think that you always belong competing in the red, but we really belong in the blue this year. We're stronger in our starting unit, and we're deeper than we were. And, you know, I look at probably 10 out of the 11 people will contribute considerably during the course of the year.
I sat here the last 2 years saying we're young, but we got some talent. But we play in that division where everybody's got talent. Just girls basketball has become so good. Everybody's got 3 or 4 players who can really play. So I feel like, yeah, our young kids that we've took our lumps with the last couple of years have been around, but other people are in that same boat. So no, I don't know. I know we can do some things. A lot of it's going to be predicated on how well we defend.
We're really excited about the returners. We're very excited about the new kids coming in, and it makes coaching a lot more fun and a lot easier when you have coachable girls, especially those that you already know, and as well as good kids who want to do well, who want to work hard for you. It makes your life a lot easier on the court.
Well, Lozometer time is money, so we'll start out with Eisenhower. Kevin Donahue, been there for 2 years. Well, he's been there for 3, but 2 of the years that he was there coaching, they won the district title. They got 3 or 4 starters back this year. What are we looking for out of Ike?
I think straight across the board, every team we're looking at, last year was like dropping the seeds in. This year we're seeing the blossoms of the flowers because these kids they have a lot of experience coming back.
Blossoms of the flowers. Pretty good.
Yeah, you like that. I worked all night for that.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
A lot of experience back at Eisenhower, led by Christy Singletary at the point guard. She's one of the top point guards in the area. Monica McCarroll, a junior, coming back, gives them a good outside threat. They got the heart and soul of the team inside with Amanda Phillips, who's a little injured right now, but she should be back hopefully sometime during the season here. And Laura Marana, she is just all guts and she hustles all the time. Ike has to push the ball, I think, this year. Defensively, you know they're going to be very sound because that's the way Coach Donahue coaches.
Yeah, they like to play that up and down Kentucky-style basketball. I think a key for them would be Christy Singletary distributing the ball. She has a tendency to settle for early shots in the offense, maybe a little too early, not working the offense. Player I really like for them is McCormick. I think that style of play, she's a very tough matchup for a lot of maybe bigger power forwards in the area because she's so fast and she can get up and down the floor so quick.
Well, their speed is going to be the key. They have to be able to get up and down the floor, and they need to get leads early. I think if they can get leads early, that's when their pressure defense can really come into play.
A couple youngsters coming up. Nicole Messenger, I like defensively. She's long and lanky and going to be good in that pressing system. And Nicole Wader, offensively, she's got some good low post moves.
Oh, definitely. He is, Coach Donahue, I saw him practice one day, and it's very intense. And They have a lot of speed. They can get up and down the floor. They went for about 20 minutes straight when I was there, just back and forth, and the girls weren't even winded, so I'm not worried about it.
Oh, see, there you go. Time is up, but we go now from Eisenhower to Ford, moving out of the MAC red down to the MAC white. Matt Joseph is the coach there now. They have plenty of starters back, too.
Oh, yeah. Last year, I think they only won 3 or 4 games. But Coach Joseph, he has plenty of experience. He comes over from East Detroit, where he had coached for, I think, 4 or 5 years, maybe 6.
Sat down the bench from that Barker guy for a little while, too.
Oh, he has.
Doesn't hurt.
No, get all the experience you can get.
Yeah.
But he has a good nucleus coming back this year. I mean, you look at Adrienne DeFonso, good outside shooter, can take the ball to the hole. She improved gradually last year as the season wore on. Inside, they have, a 3-year starter in Ladita Goichai. They're going to need big things from her. She needs to be a presence in the post and be able to score down there and rebound.
Like she did in the district. She had a very good district couple games last year. She was very productive, especially against Romeo. And if she can continue that, they'll be all right.
And she has some help down there, too. I mean, you look, Tara Williams returning, who's a very, very sound forward, can play the 3, the 4, maybe even, if Lindia gets in foul trouble, she can play the center position. I like what they have at the point with Emily Joseph, who is Matt's daughter. She's only a sophomore, but she plays under control, and I just love everything she does. She can shoot the ball, she can take the ball to the hole, she plays sound defense. She's the one, I mean, she's only a sophomore, but she's the one that's got to be the leader of this team.
I think Ford isn't going to have any problems scoring points. Defensively, they may have some questions, although Tara Williams is an excellent defender. She is kind of the mini Ben Wallace of girls basketball, only because she's kind of a liability offensively, but defensively she does so much for them, and she's a good leader, good citizen, and she's a valuable part of that team.
2 other players I want to mention that I think are going to play key roles. Becca Butenmiller is definitely going to have to score from the outside, and she's going to have to really spearhead the traps on the defense because she's got pretty good size for a guard. Watch out for Melanie McNally down low.
I think Joseph and DeFonso, very athletic
We got to move on.
In the backcourt, and they might combine to average 30 points a game. We move on now to Stevenson, another team with a lot of returning starters back, and we start with that core. Dwyer and Bohr, it seems like they've been there forever. They're a great combination.
I think they're in their 7th year now, and they're only juniors,
Right.
so I don't know what they're doing over there at Stevenson, but you're right. I mean, seriously, though, those 2 are the catalyst of this team, and they have a good nucleus to help them out with Danielle Gunas, Katie Treese, Gilkey coming back to the post. The big thing is they need to establish the inside game, and they need ball movement. I saw them already this season, and the ball movement wasn't there. There's a lot of dribbling. The team cannot get into a funk where they're looking at Molly Dwyer and saying, okay, you score. They need to get Leanna Bohr involved, and they need to stop people inside because they gave up a lot of second shots to Rochester Adams, which was a very big team. I mean, if you put Rochester Adams in the MAC Red, they're probably going to be one of the teams that would be running for the championship. They played well against them, but they have to limit the second shots because they're going to play some big teams in the MAC Red.
Molly Dwyer, an outstanding player, maybe the most fundamentally sound player we've seen in a while. A bit of an adjustment for her this year, moving from the 3 spot, sharing point guard duties with Danielle Gunas. Those kind of switch off between in the 1 and the 2. Another player I like for them a lot, Talitha Robertson, LJ Robertson's little sister, only a freshman. She has a lot of skills offensively, and she could be a big part of that team. It has some work to come defensively, but she's only a freshman, and that's to be expected.
One thing I saw from the one game I saw with Stevenson, I don't mean to double talk there, but Erica Spears playing in the guard position. I think as the season goes on, you're going to see her and Molly Dwyer get in the sync because Molly gets a lot of defensive rebounds. And Erica's got a lot of speed, and if they can get her out on the break, she can get behind some defenses and make a lot of easy layups.
Yeah, I think Stevenson, they need to find a little bit of depth. That might be one of their problems. Last year they kind of went about 6 deep, and maybe that affected them a little bit. We'll see. Another team that's looking for depth, they know who their point guard is, and that's for sure, is Utica. It's been the Mandy Pyhowski show for about 3 years there now. She's one of those players that's been around forever, but still only a junior. She verbally committed to Michigan State, so she'll follow in Julie Pagel's footsteps, who's now an assistant coach with Utica, so maybe they'll get some of that winning attitude back. But Pyhowski really runs the show up there, and she has to do a lot for them again this year.
See, I think, some people say, well, why'd she commit so early? Mm-hmm. Well, the pressure's off her now. I mean, I don't think a lot of people realize how many teams and how many colleges are watching her night in, night out, and you're trying to impress these scouts. She doesn't have to worry about that anymore. She can concentrate on playing basketball, which is going to be big. I love what they have down at the post. Amanda Hunt is very solid down there. She can score. She can rebound. She's quick. She plays good defense. Last year, her biggest problem was getting some early foul trouble. She needs to stay away from that. I also like Kim Donnelly. Kim Donnelly is there for her, I think, third season now.
Yeah,
second,
I believe so.
Third season. Yeah. Another solid rebounder who has developed a little bit of an outside shot towards the end of last year, and that should be big. They need big minutes from Jessica Kopecki this year. They need her to really step in and fill in that role, whether it's as a starter or off the bench.
Yeah, she was up on varsity as a freshman, but hasn't done a lot since she's been on varsity, though.
Overall, with this Utica team, the key for them to win, I think, is they need to get out on the break, because when you look back at the state championship team and the teams that had success after that, they were able. Transition was big. Get the ball on a turnover and go. They're going to need to do that, because if they have to get into a half-court set, then you need somebody besides Mandy to score, and someone's going to have to step up. If that happens, then they could be looking for a pretty good season. And
Mandy is so dangerous on that break. She's an excellent passer, and she makes that full-court pass on the money as good as anyone. The question is anyone at Utica going to be able to catch those passes? Another question is, Sterling Heights moving down to the MAC blue from the MAC red, but the cupboard's not dry there. Tom Daly's been around a long time. He's got a lot to work with, and starts with center Nicole McLeod, 6'2".
Nicole McLeod, this is her year to shine. I mean, she's 6'2". She's got a touch from 15 feet and in. She needs to assert herself and get aggressive down low. That was the biggest flaw that I saw in her game last year. If she can get aggressive down low, score 12 points a game, 10 rebounds, 5 blocks, Sterling Heights is going to be a force in the blue.
That Stevenson game that we did last year, you helped us out on, thank you very much. She had triple-double that. Yeah, triple overtime and a triple-double that game. And since that game, she played better. She played very well in the districts. Mm-hmm. And she's a force. She's been working on her game and her footwork in the off-season. She's going to be a force inside. The outside presence, Melissa Tarasoff.
What can you say about her besides just 110% fourth gear all day long?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes she's almost too fast for her.
That was her problem sometimes
last year
was being too fast.
She needs to play under control. She needs to get the ball inside. She has good guards around her. She's got Olivia Jarbo, who can play. Nicole Silk showed signs in that triple overtime game we did last year. Yeah. Also, talking Coach Daly, is very high in 2 newcomers, 2 transfers that came in, Latoya Grant and Jasmine Anderson. I believe Jasmine came from Cass Tech.
Yep.
And he said that both these girls fit into the mold of what they want to do almost perfectly. He said that that with those 2 in there, that gives them a little more depth, which allows them to do a few more things. So, I mean, there's maybe a few question marks yet with the Sterling Heights team, because they're going down the blue. They don't know those teams very well, but at the same time, there's enough coming back.
Those teams in the blue don't know Sterling Heights very well, and Tom Daly's been around for quite a while. He's probably got a few tricks.
Maybe a little feeling out process the first time around in the blue, but
well, see, there you go.
I really don't like that.
Well, we're going to move on now to boys soccer. Plenty of local teams looking very good in the area again this year. Here's a look at the 2004 boys soccer season.
Our season, if it could go as long as it did last year, wonderful, even a bit farther. Certainly the talent is here for that, but a lot of things have to fall in place. You have to stay healthy, you have to have a good attitude team-wise, and let's face it, you got to be a bit lucky, and at times we had all those things last year. So the ingredients are there. Hopefully we'll stay healthy and get a bit of luck.
I think you have to establish some trust with the players, and you only do that by being honest with them. And part of honesty is realism, or reality. And we look realistically at what's going to happen this year. What kind of situations are we going to be in, and what are the possible outcomes? A lot of those outcomes tend to be gruesome on the negative side, but our job this year is to limit those call them negative or gruesome outcomes. We don't want them to happen. We're going to do the best we can to make sure they don't happen. But this team's probably got more heart, I would say, than a lot of teams we've had around here in Sterling. And I think that's what's going to salvage your season.
I think we've turned the corner, and hopefully it'll show this year. I have 3, 4, 5 kids who can create offense for me this year. So I think we're going to be a well-rounded offensive team. The one area that I'm worried about is defense. As long as my defense comes together and holds some people from not scoring, I think we're going to be okay.
It gets easier as time goes on because guys come up through the system and they know what I'm about and they know what to expect from me and they know what I expect from them. Eisenhower has a real good chance at the States, and so does Anchor Bay. But I feel I've got a good core right now. I was going down, I know 12 players. All I need is a couple more bench players, and we may surprise a few people.
Last year we had an off year. You know, you can have some talent, but if they don't gel during the year, it doesn't come off. I knew the players from last year, who were the varsity players, so I could spend my time focusing on some of the newer players and some of the players they had last year to see how much they had developed.
All right, soccer time. We'll start out with Utica, our only team in the MAC White. Dave Moran, new coach moving in. Got some experience last year coaching the girls. Coached a game for Carl Torito a few years back, so he enters this season with a lifetime 1-0 record. But he's got some talent there and a lot more numbers than they had last year, which was a tough season for them.
I've seen Utica play twice this week, and Coach Moran was the JV coach there last year at Utica. They are for real. They will compete in that MAC White. They will be a force that has to be reckoned with. No selfishness on the team. That was one of the big problems last year. They have Dwayne Hopkins back, and Dwayne's a super player. But last year, there was a lot of watching Dwayne, and Dwayne can only do so much because there was no one else moving. That is not the case this year. Dwayne's giving the ball up. He's getting it back. They have 5 or 6 kids who can put the ball in the net. Tim Rivington is a super midfielder who is one of the captains of the team to go along with Dwayne. Steve Kalai, he had a hat trick against Port Huron Northern. He's a very solid player, good size, good speed. Alex Tchaikovsky, watch out for this kid. He's a freshman. Great speed, great with feet on the ball, great passing tools. He's almost like a Steve Eiserman type, where he might get 50 assists in 1 year.
50 assists in 1 year?
No, I mean
pretty
in hockey terms.
Okay.
And Brad Burry, a senior, first year in varsity.
Transfer from De La Salle.
Transfer from De La Salle. Big kid, big tall kid who gives him speed on the outside. He doesn't look like he could run that fast, but he's very, very quick. The only question mark with Utica is goalkeeping.
Yeah, Tim Bettis, the keeper from last year, struggled in the match that we aired as Game of the Week against Stevenson. Ray Grobel decided to try out for the soccer team as a goalie, made it. He's got a little bit of developing too, so that's their big question, is not giving up the easy ones.
All right.
See, you got to talk almost the whole time that time.
Okay, your turn.
All right, my turn. All right, so we move on to Stevenson now. Bob Mondu, he's had great teams in the past. What Coach Mondu does so well is he gets the personalities of the team to blend together, and he's got some talent back. They lost a lot last year, mainly Javier Suarez, but Mark Nikolai is a big, powerful forward who can. He's not a speed guy at a forward, but he's a power guy, and he can push some people around and get himself into position physically if he has to.
Stevenson isn't as bad as what some might expect. I mean, because like you said, they did lose quite a bit last year. They have a solid goalkeeper back in Aaron Carpenter, and it all starts from right there. You add into the fact the returning men like Mike McLean, Mark Nicolay, as you mentioned, Ryan Goon now, and then you got Uzoma Okeagu.
Uzama Okegu.
Yeah. I was close, all
Yeah.
right? Come on, you're wasting time. And we got Scott Henning back. Stevenson is going to be a team, I think, that's going to improve as the year goes on. When some of these kids get enough experience, hopefully they'll gel together. They might not win the MAC Red. They probably won't win the MAC Red. But come district time, they might be a team that can knock off a couple powerhouses in the state.
Bob Mondu likes to play a defensive style of ball. He's going to do that even more so this year, almost a Chippewa Valley type of style. Dan Crowley is another good defender they have. Matt Coddington is a youngster, a sophomore.
He's got a great shot.
Who got hurt already, but they're hoping that he'll get healthy. Defensively, they're looking real good. Okegu is a very quiet and sound leader back there. What they need is some goal scoring, and they're hoping Nikolai and Paolo Sachaki can help them out in that sense. Those two guys are going to have to step up big for them.
Yeah, they don't want to get into a shootout because they're not going to win too many shootouts this year. If they can keep it close, get a quick lead, get a 1-0 lead. I mean, you don't want to try and hold it for 65 minutes, but get the 1-0 lead. You can play those safe.
You can finish your thought.
No. Stevenson will be tough.
Okay, now we move on to Ford. We talked about Stevenson having a hard time scoring goals. At Ford, you might have the reverse problem. Ford might be the most exciting team to watch this year because you might see some 5-4, 6-5 games because they've got plenty of offense. Kyle Vondenbanken back. Was in our top, I think, 10 last year as a player of the year with that excellent goal against Sterling Heights. He has a ton of skills. He's a very good player. They've got a lot of other forwards, Mike Stifler, some of the other guys that are excellent goal scorers, and they'll put a lot of points on the board.
You know, the MAC Red is so tough, and I think goals are going to be hard to come by. I mean, Eisenhower's going to score a lot of goals. When Ford plays Eisenhower, who knows what's going to happen there? It could be 6-5 by the end of the game because there's a lot of firepower on both sides. Some of the other kids from Ford that are going to play solid roles this year in their success are Peter Badalamenti, Justin Hatfield, Brian Zonka, and Ryan Allen. All those guys are returning guys who can put the ball in the net. I think a key for Ford is going to be at defense.
Yeah.
I mean,
they lost Chris Falzone, who was their best defender. That Jeremy Clark, who is a rising star in the area in terms of soccer, is going to be their goalie about 70% of the time. Dave Pulowski, who's a good goalie in his own right, will probably play about 30% of the time. Clark is going to see a lot of shots, and we'll find out just how good Mr. Clark is. But he's a good one, but he'll be tested quite a bit.
This team has so much experience back there. There's no reason why there should be any pressure on them. All they should have to do is go out and play the game. They have to play as a unit. Last year, at times, they seemed to get a little selfish with the ball and all that. They can't do that this year. They're going to find out that if they play as a unit, they're going to find success. Kind of like what Utica's doing.
And they have to not get carded. They can't beat themselves. Crawford's first couple years there, Ford had to deal with the referees as well as the opponent. If they could just worry about the opponent, they'll be all right. All right. Another team that we're looking at, Sterling Heights High School in the MAC Red. Here's a little trivia. Well, not trivia for you, but their football team in the white, girls basketball team in the blue, girls soccer team in the blue, baseball in the blue, softball in the gold, Sterling Heights in the MAC Red. Probably shouldn't be there anymore, and I think this year you're probably going to see it because they only 3 returning players on the whole team. Steve Fiordalisi has his work cut out for him this year.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate that they are in the red because they are a program that needs to build, and when you're building, you don't want to build through the MAC Red.
No.
The best thing for Sterling Heights right now is to just try and stay in games and gain the experience that they need. They're going to take their lumps. I mean, there's no doubt about that. They don't have a lot of numbers right now, and some of the kids that are out there that are playing are showing some talent. Theo Futris is a very solid player. Joseph Palai is a kid who looks like he's got a lot of potential.
Brian Dunklin is another one. The problem with Sterling Heights is they have these guys who have some skill. I saw them play against Cosno. They've got some good skill guys, some good guys to possess and move the ball. They're just so tiny.
Billy Moncrief is another kid that has showed some promise, and that's what you have to take. They're going to have to take little steps this year. And Coach Fiordalisi really does have his work cut out for him. But I mean, they have to huddle around him because they're all in it together.
Yeah, they did get one win in their pre-conference schedule, which is good.
And they got a tie with only 10 kids after one kick out.
That's right. Anyway, we move on from Sterling Heights to the team to be in the area this fall. Eisenhower Chris Corteg, now the AD. They're letting him stay on as coach to make his maybe title run. They lose Dean Crystal, but they get part of the reason why Sterling Heights is hurting. Peter Nowak, no longer at Sterling Heights. He's at Eisenhower, and it takes Crystal's spot. Peter will lead what is already a very talented team.
Oh, this team's loaded. I mean, they, from top to bottom, there isn't a weak spot on the field. You know, let's start with goaltending. Francesco Bartolotta set the team record last year for shutouts in a season. Wade Allen's back, had a great district and regional. Big kid, just knows where to put the ball in the net.
I think they're moving him back to play a little defense this year. I think he's going to be
how strong
the sweeper.
They are.
So yeah, you take one of the top forwards in the state and you move him back to the D.
And you want to talk about speed? Let's talk about Matt Mosseri, lightning quick. Jeff Wolf, very solid player. There is no weakness on this team. I think the biggest thing for Eisenhower, the one hurdle they have to clear is themselves.
Yeah.
If they get selfish and they get all about me and not about the team, that's one thing that could hold them up from winning a state title. This team can win a state title. Yeah. If they stay healthy, all the pieces are there to win a state title. It's up to them to come together as a team and they're going to play in a tough MAC Red season. And then when you get to that district, be ready to go. And, I mean, they got a great coach, too.
Yeah, Korteg is the guy to lead them there. He did lead them to like an 18-2-4 season last year. He's won national titles while I was at Macomb. He did a great job with the girls team.
Did you play?
No. Huh? What was that?
Did you play at Macomb?
No.
Oh.
I didn't do anything anywhere, ever. But that's beside the point. But that team is poised to make a run at it all. The one question is, like you said, is there going to be enough balls to go around? That's something we'll have to wait and see.
And watch out for...
I guess it's prediction time. Once again, I'll trash you in the predictions. We'll start out with girls basketball. What do you got in girls basketball?
MAC Red. Obviously, Grosse Pointe North is going to be tough. They have everyone back. And then I like Ike second. Depending on how Mandy Phillips, if Mandy Phillips comes back. Right now, she's got that injury to her wrist or thumb, and they need to get her back. Followed by L'Anse Creuse, Stevenson, Utica, Fraser, and Port Huron Northern.
Okay, my MAC Red. I got L'Anse Creuse first. I think Fresh Hour and Monroe is a pretty devastating combination. They've done a lot with that program.
The Lancers.
The Lancers, that's right. See, I studied this time. Grosse Pointe North second. They've got like their top 10 players back. They're going to be tough. Port Huron Northern. McDonald said a couple years ago that JV team was the best JV team he'd ever seen in his entire life. They've had a good team. Stevenson is going to be right there in the mix along with Ike, 4 and 5.
No, we got to get to the MAC White.
Fraser and Utica.
Okay, MAC White. St. Clair's everyone back from a team. I think they went 20-0 during the regular season last year. You got to pick them to win it again. Grosse Pointe South second, Ford 2 third, Chippewa Valley fourth, Dakota fifth, L'Anse Creuse North sixth, and Anchor Bay coming up at the bottom.
I got St. Clair winning it, as you said. I like Chippewa Valley second, Ford third. They're going to score a lot of points. Question is, how good is their defense going to be? Dakota, Anchor Bay, Grosse Pointe South, L'Anse Creuse